Hello, friends. Welcome back to Good Week, issue number 3, our good news roundup for the week of July 6th. Pour something comforting, settle in. I want to begin with something human and quietly heroic. Dogs at work, saving lives.
Dozens of trained search and rescue dogs from more than 20 countries were deployed in Venezuela after the recent earthquakes, according to CNN. The canine teams moved through rubble in the hardest-hit areas, locating survivors trapped under debris. They also recovered victims and helped authorities document damage.
There is something deeply grounding about that image. A team of handlers and dogs landing from all over the world, leashes clipped, tails going, ready to get to work. It is international cooperation with wet noses.
And expertise. These dogs don't just show up. They're trained to navigate unstable ground, ignore distractions, and zero in on the scent of human life. The handlers coordinate closely with local crews to prioritize the most promising sites.
It's a reminder that kindness can be precise and practical. If you work with a dog, extra treats tonight. If you don't, you can still take a page from their book. Show up, focus, help where you can.
And hydrate. Dogs know to drink water after a shift. Humans could learn from them there too.
Spoken like a man with a water bottle within reach.
Always.
From quiet heroism to policy that touches everyday lives, Spain says around 900,000 migrants have applied for its temporary regularization program. It offers a renewable 1-year residence and work permit, a window of stability for people who have been living in the gray zone.
That figure, around 900,000, comes from the Spanish government's announcement. The scheme legalizes the status of undocumented foreigners for a limited period, with the option to renew for another year. There's a set deadline for applications, and it's specifically framed as temporary.
Still, a chance to work openly, rent an apartment without holding your breath, and contribute in the daylight. That's a real quality of life shift. Policy can feel abstract, but this is groceries and school runs.
And paperwork that matches reality, at least for that defined period. It's designed as a structured pathway, not a permanent solution, but it's tangible.
Also in the realm of dignity, AP News reported that Pope Leo III is scheduled to travel to the island of Lampedusa to pray at a migrant cemetery and celebrate Mass. It's a simple public act of attention to people who are often only mentioned as numbers.
Scheduled is the operative word here. Earlier reporting noted a speech highlighting the legacy of immigration and the forthcoming Lampedusa visit. The key positive thread is the planned moment of witness.
Sometimes leadership is about showing up in person, quietly, where grief has been. That matters. Health news now, and there's a lot that's encouraging. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that the country's age-adjusted death rate fell to 689.2 deaths per 100,000, the lowest level recorded, the lowest in more than a century. Officials attributed the improvement primarily to fewer deaths from overdoses and COVID, and they noted a 4.6% decline compared with the previous year.
That's straight from CDC reporting. Separate coverage pointed out that average lifespan in the United States has climbed from around 40 years in the late 1700s to roughly 79 years today, driven by improvements in medicine and public health. The historic low in the death rate and the life expectancy context are both part of the same long arc.
It's good to pause on that. Across generations, we've expanded the room people have to live their lives. Speaking of expanding access, CBS News reported that Medicare will launch a pilot later this year to cover selected GLP-1 weight loss drugs for eligible seniors, with a $50 monthly copay. It will run for 18 months.
CNBC also covered it. The details matter. It's a time-limited pilot, not a permanent benefit, and it applies to specific medications prescribed for obesity. But if you're eligible, a predictable $50 copay can make a difference.
And here's a practical health note that's less about numbers and more about early awareness. A general practitioner, Dr. Johannes Uys, highlighted 4 physical signs that can appear before memory loss and dementia: an unsteady gait, clumsiness, coordination difficulties, and tremors or limb stiffness. If you've been seeing those, it might be a reason to check in with a doctor.
It's useful guidance. He framed them as possible early signals, not a diagnosis on their own. Paying attention early can open doors to support.
Exactly. we're all doing the best we can with the people we love. A small list like that can help. Now to medical tech that feels almost like a miracle. Stanford researchers reported that a tiny solar panel-powered retinal implant restored central vision for dozens of European patients with advanced age-related macular degeneration. The device turns light into gentle electrical signals that wake up the retinal cells that are still there.
That's what the Stanford team described. The emphasis was on central vision, the part you need for faces and reading, and the result was reported across dozens of patients. It's not a cure-all, but it's a meaningful restoration.
It's hard to imagine the impact of suddenly getting back that central patch of sight. The book text, the grandchild's face, the oven dial. Sometimes technology is at its best when it gives back a piece of ordinary life.
And it does it with a neat idea. Harvest light, convert it on the spot, stimulate what still works.
Another win from the lab bench? A study in Nature mapped the tiny fragments from malaria parasites that the immune system can actually recognize. 453 peptides bound to human HLA molecules. Some of those targets were conserved and sparked strong CD8 plus T-cell responses in humans, non-human primates, and even rodents.
That's the key. They identified conserved antigens that provoke T-cell responses across species. It's discovery stage science, finding reliable bullseyes. Useful for designing new strategies, but to be clear, it's not a vaccine announcement. It's a map.
A sharper map means fewer wrong turns. That's progress. Over to technology with real-world lift. CNN reported that NASA awarded about $590 million in contracts to 3 private companies for 4 lunar cargo missions, the first phase of a broader $30 billion effort to build a permanent base on the moon. These are the supply runs, delivering gear for research and eventually construction.
Space News added context on the program structure. The headline takeaway is concrete funding for 4 missions, with the larger aim of setting up sustained operations. It's the logistics backbone you need before the big dreams can stand.
On Earth, a battery mystery gets clearer. Researchers from the University of Dundee and the University of Warwick found that oxygen in certain lithium-ion battery materials isn't just sitting there. It actively participates during charging and discharging. That's a rethink of how those layered oxide cathodes work.
And a useful one. If oxygen isn't purely passive, design rules change. Understanding that interaction can guide better materials. It's a lab finding, but these are the kinds of details that add up to better performance and safety down the line.
Also in the lab lane, Stat News reported that Anthropic unveiled a model tuned for scientific work, specifically for drug development tasks like data analysis, literature review, and hypothesis generation. The idea is to help researchers sift and reason faster.
Framed as a tool for the bench scientist, not replacing experiments, but helping organize what to try next and why.
And a nod to the systems that encourage inventors. CBS News highlighted a historian at the Smithsonian's Lemelson Center who credited the U.S. patent system as a driver of centuries of American innovation. From the cotton gin to the internet, she argued that the process has been a steady scaffold for creativity.
It's a thesis with a long view, stable rules, protected ideas, and an incentive to build.
Science wonders explained simply. The New York Times reported that researchers at the University of Minnesota built a synthetic cell, assembled from non-living chemicals that can ingest nutrients, grow, divide, and keep going in the lab. That's the bare bones version of life, stitched together by design.
It's a minimal cell, engineered to copy the key steps of living systems. The achievement isn't about creating a creature. It's about understanding the recipe well enough to get growth and division on command.
Meanwhile, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile began a 10-year survey of the southern sky. It'll scan night after night, mapping billions of stars and galaxies and collecting the data scientists need to probe mysteries like dark matter and dark energy. Crone noted the continuous nightly sweep. It's like turning a camera on the universe and letting it roll.
A decade-long time-lapse of the sky. The public payoff tends to be twofold. stunning images, and better models of how the cosmos is stitched together.
Closer to home, but still high up, AP News said NASA is preparing a $30 million robotic mission built by Catalyst Space Technologies and expected to launch with Northrop Grumman to rescue the Swift telescope by capturing it and raising its orbit. CBS added that the spacecraft will use 3 robotic arms to grapple the observatory.
It's an in-space service call. Grab, stabilize, boost. If it works, you extend the life of a working telescope instead of waving goodbye.
And down in the sand, history reveals itself. Archaeologists announced a 4th century Byzantine settlement in Egypt's Dakhla oasis and a cluster of ancient tombs near Alexandria. AP News reported the site was well preserved, and officials said the finds could bolster tourism.
New chapters added to a very old book, and with them, practical benefits for visitors and the local economy.
Sports brought drama and momentum this week. England's captain Harry Kane scored 2 late goals against the Democratic Republic of Congo, flipping a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 win and sending England into the World Cup round of 16. AP News had the match report. ESPN echoed the late brace storyline.
Late goals concentrate the mind. 2 in the final 21 minutes, according to the summaries.
Morocco kept the fireworks going. Yahoo Sports reported an early strike against Canada, a red card that tilted the balance, and even a hamstring scare for Morocco's striker. And still, a 3-0 win to book a spot in the quarterfinals. That's resolve.
The early goal set the tone, and after the ejection, Canada had fewer options. The 3-0 final put Morocco through.
France's path came with a bit of reporting whiplash. One outlet had a penalty win over Paraguay. Later, both Al Jazeera and the Associated Press reported a 3-0 win over Sweden, with Kylian Mbappe scoring twice, tying Lionel Messi on 6 goals and setting up a round of 16 matchup.
The accounts conflict on the opponent and the route, penalties versus a 3-0 result. What's consistent is that France advanced and Mbappe scored, with multiple reports flagging him hitting 6 goals. When sources diverge, it's worth noting the mismatch rather than pretending it's tidy.
Good housekeeping for sports fans. The United States got a lift. FIFA's disciplinary committee placed Folarin Balogun's 1-game suspension on a 1-year probation, clearing him to play in the round of 16 against Belgium.
That's an official ruling. From a tactical standpoint, having your striker back for a knockout match is significant.
And a milestone for Mexico. Goal.com reported a 2-1 win over Ecuador at the Azteca Stadium, Mexico's first World Cup knockout stage victory in 4 decades. Raul Jimenez and Julian Quiñones scored, and Roberto Alvarado became the first Mexican player to register 3 assists at a World Cup.
4 decades is a long drought. Breaking it is a morale surge.
On grass courts, a statement win. Naomi Osaka beat world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka 6-2, 7-6-2 to reach the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the first time. ESPN had it, CNN echoed the result.
Straight sets and her first quarterfinal at that tournament. That's form meeting opportunity.
Everyday wins in how we shop and eat. California passed a law to make date labels less confusing. Fox Business reported that AB 660 standardizes consumer-facing labels to best if used by or use by, and bans sell-by tags on packaging that reaches shoppers.
Clarity helps reduce waste. Sell-by was meant for store inventory, not home kitchens. With uniform language, fewer good groceries get tossed because the label sounded scary.
Also encouraging on the jobs front. FX Street reported that U.S. job openings reached 7.594 million in May, topping estimates of about 7.3 million. Total separations stayed steady at 5.1 million, and CNN later noted that the Bureau of Labor Statistics confirmed the figures.
Outpacing forecasts is the positive note here. It's a single-month snapshot, but higher openings than expected is generally a sign of demand.
Translation, more we're hiring signs that are real.
With any luck, some of them come with reasonable coffee.
Business and big moves. Tesla delivered a record 480,126 vehicles in the second quarter, beating forecasts. Fox Business reported analysts had expected around 402,776. The company pointed to robust European market performance.
A new quarterly high and a sizable beat versus the cited consensus. However you slice it, that's momentum.
In media, CNBC reported that Comcast will spin off NBC Universal and Sky into separate public companies, tax-free, with shareholders receiving shares in both. NBC News added that the separation will split Comcast into two independent, publicly traded firms.
It's a structural change. Divide media from other operations to let each stand on its own. Shareholders get slices of both pies.
For families, the Treasury and IRS offered clarity. Contributions to new Trump accounts, savings set up for children, are exempt from gift tax filing. Treasury later detailed that each newborn gets a $1,000 government seed deposit, and families can add up to $5,000 a year without additional paperwork.
The agency said millions of children are enrolled. The standout details are the seed deposit amount and the annual contribution cap without extra filing. Simpler rules tend to drive participation.
A small start that can grow over time. That's the point of savings.
And the earlier you start, the longer compounding has to do its friendly math.
Let's wrap with a bit of sparkle. Early reports from TMZ and Fox News say that Taylor Swift and NFL tight end Travis Kelce are set to marry at Madison Square Garden in New York, a private ceremony followed by a larger celebration. Friends Stevie Nicks and Tim McGraw are expected to perform, and Paul McCartney was mentioned as a possible guest performer.
Keyword early. Those reports are preliminary, and names like Paul McCartney are in the mentioned as possible category, not confirmed. But as a piece of entertainment optimism, it's a cheerful note.
Imagine the set list. Actually, don't. We'll let the happy couple handle that. Either way, it's fun to picture a wedding where the band is, well, legendary.
And presumably on time, unlike most wedding bands.
On that high note, thank you for spending part of your day with us. If you'd like more stories like these, visit faxlane.com or find us in the App Store and Google Play. There's even a calm Zen mode. Only positive news, just like this show, for those days when you want to keep the good vibes steady.
We're here every week to look back at what went right. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and let the small wins stack up.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time for another round of good news.